Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up, click on that, and it will have qualified therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. Okay, tons of questions that I wanted to answer. So the first one is about not being able to receive compliments. You know, we're constantly told by our abuser that we're smart and beautiful and talented and this, that, and the other thing. And then the discard happens. It throws us off because now everything that they valued in us is now suddenly a deficit and they hate us for it. And you're too smart, you're too beautiful, you're too this, you're too that, you laugh too loud, you speak too much, da da da, too much, not enough, not enough, not enough, too much, not enough, not enough, not enough. So then it's really hard to take compliments because we don't trust them. So this is a common issue amongst survivors, is that they, either through family of origin or through a romantic partner or a boss or a toxic friend or whatever, got all of these compliments, but then it flips on a dime and none of those compliments are true or right from that person. So it really does boil down to know thyself. Know what is true about you, you know? So it boils down to self-esteem. I know people are like, no, 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 that can't be the answer. Yes, 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 that is the answer. It really is, because when you know who you are and you know what your strengths are and you know what your foibles are, you know, then it's very hard for a narcissist to take those away from you, okay? So, for example, my dad was threatened like nobody's business by my smarts. I was always, quote unquote, the cute one. Oh, you're the cute one. You're not the smart one. Well, funny, I'm the only one that's married to the same person, and I'm the only one running my own business. Hello. You know, so it's like they want to denigrate the very thing that makes you you. But if you know who you are, you're able to take a look at that and go, you're full of shit, motherfucker. I am smart. I am funny. I am this. I am that. Blah, 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 blah. But when we've been raised by a narcissist, or we've had toxic narcissistic people around us and they compliment, 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 and then take it away from us, if we have not done the work, if we have not based ourselves rock solid in self-esteem, we are going to fall for the devalue and the discard. We're going to believe that we're incompetent. We're going to believe that we're not pretty or beautiful or smart or funny or handsome or, you know, intelligent, amazing, blah, 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 blah. We're going to believe that we're none of the things that they originally complimented us for when they do the discard. So this is the thing. It really does all come down to self-esteem. To thine own self be true. Know who you are. Recognize your own strengths. Compliment yourself. That's what self-esteem is. It's just this little tiny voice inside your head going, yeah, you are smart. You are good. You are this. You are that. I like you. Keep going. Oops, you fucked up. Okay, make amends. Good, you did. Okay, move on. That is self-esteem, okay? Other esteem is where we base our worth on what other people say. Now, accepting compliments. It is hard for targets of abuse to accept compliments because, and this is a article I just posted today on the Facebook page, We Need to Talk. Let me see if I can go find it. What is echoism? So this is an article and Craig Malkin, Dr. Craig Malkin, and I did a whole video on this a few months ago. I think it was like a year or two ago. Jeez, ways time flies. Anyway, Craig Malkin is an echoist researcher and author of Rethinking Narcissism. Echoism is an extreme fear of seeming narcissistic in any way. In contrast to the attention-grabbing narcissist who craves feelings of being special, echoists fear special attention, even when it's positive. They tend to agree with statements such as, I'm afraid of being a burden. I'm afraid of for people to ask me my preferences. I'm often at a loss. While these traits may sound a lot like run-of-the-mill people-pleasing behavior or even humility, there is a huge difference. They're so adverse to attention that they become angry when others try to help them or when others compliment them or make a fuss over them. So it's like, hello, things just go flying around because the fan is on. Hello, come back. So it is an extreme fear of being recognized. Echoists are often quiet, unable to take up space, or are likely to adapt themselves to the perceived wishes of others. So this is like people pleasing, but on steroids. This is like extreme. You know, it's like can't handle positive stuff, don't want to be recognized. So how does the narcissistic parent affect the kid in this way? Echoists tend to come from families where disagreeing and expressing feelings such as anger, sadness, disappointment, or any other emotion that was not condoned by the narcissistic parent was off limits, including happiness. Also, they might have been shunned for owning their achievements. Much of the time, this parent-child dynamic stems from the parent's own unresolved trauma, and of course being a non-empathetic narcissist. They don't say that in there, but I'm saying that. That's never been worked through. In some cases, an emotionally fragile parent, one who bursts into tears at the first sign of adversity, which would be a covert narcissist, may have caused the child to fear seeming too needy. And it can get more complex. As a result of this dynamic, echoists can fear developing a separate identity because doing so means leaving the needy parent behind. So not all children of narcissistic parents become echoists, but the basic thing of it is if the narcissistic parent, and I'm just paraphrasing this article, this is on Mike, M-I-C, and it is by, who wrote this? Julia Fraga. So it's on my YouTube page. Basically, if the narcissistic parent punished the child for existing, which is what a lot of them do because they're fucking assholes, what they'll do is that if the child gets attention in any way, shape, or form, especially positive attention, they'll take it away from them. Let's say they do great in school. They get some sort of recognition or achievement. That narcissistic parent will find some reason to punish them later in the day. Or they'll find some way to take the achievement away from them and say, it was me. I did that. Look what I made. That kid, right? Like, I'm sorry, you were like a sperm donor or an egg donor. That was it. Fuck y'all. So do you see where I'm going with that? So it is hard to accept compliments for two reasons. If we came from a narcissistic family and they would take things away from us if we got compliments, we learn very quickly not to be able to accept them. Number two, if we got compliments and the narcissist then took away all the compliments and used the very thing that they said that we were so special and great and wonderful about and then punished us with that, our amygdala, right, cannot tell the difference between real threat, past threat, imagined threat, thinking about a threat, emotional threat, thought about an emotional threat, cannot tell the difference. So when we start receiving compliments, guess what our amygdala does? Oh no, 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 I know where this leads. I've been there, done that, bought the playbook. Hello? No, thank you. I've been there before. I know what's going to happen. So that's why it's so hard for us to accept compliments, is because our amygdala is going, ooh, I've been there, I've done that. Now, the way to short circuit that is self-esteem. Know yourself. What are your strengths? What do you know about you? What do you know about you? Right? Because if you know what you know to be true about you, you're not relying on others to confirm that it's true. You know it. Like rock solid, sun comes up in the east, you know who you are, right? So when a narcissist comes in, gives compliment, 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 and then takes it away, you're able to go, isn't that interesting? Well, they just showed me who they are. Okay, thanks. Thanks for playing. Bye-bye. Because honest to God, here's the thing. When you work on your self-esteem and get yourself grounded in self-esteem, the narcissist won't even get that close because your bullshit radar is going to be working overtime, and it's going to be like, I know that energy. I know that behavior. No, thank you. Bye-bye. Go play in traffic. Do you see where I'm going with that? So, yeah. So it is partially that echoism, and I have seen victims of severe narcissistic abuse are echoists. They can't handle real, honest to God compliments. They can't handle help. They can't handle it because if they accept help, they hear all of the horrible things in their head that their narcissist told them. Well, you're weak. You're this. Why are you accepting help? You shouldn't do that. I need the help. Da 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 da. I mean, woo, hello. So that's what that is about. And like I said, our amygdala is working overtime, going, oh, this feels really familiar. This feels really, my narcissist would give me all these compliments and then turn around and take it away. So anyway, that, I hope, answers that question. So really, it's about learning to trust your own gut. You have to learn to trust your own gut. You have to know what your strengths are. And this is why the mirror work is important. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. I give you permission to have a great day. You know what? I love this about you. I love that about you. I love this about you. This is true about you. This is true about you. This is true. You start listing off the things that you know to be true about yourself. You write your list of deal breakers. The second any of these fuckers crosses over one of those deal breakers, be done. Because you don't deserve to be treated like shit by anybody. I don't care who the fuck they think they are. So yeah, so I hope that answers that question. If it doesn't, please IM me, let me know. All right, moving on, because we've got a ton of stuff and I don't have much time because I got a client coming in. Okay. All right, I have schizophrenia. After long periods of meditation, my schizophrenia is induced big time afterwards if I am in public. Is this a typical reaction? Yes, it is. So schizophrenia is an imbalance in the brain. So it's like the brain is taking in all of these signals and it just can't process them. Meditation can be great. However, if there is brain chemical stuff going on that's causing the paranoia or the hallucinations or the whatever, you want to proceed with caution, especially if it makes it worse afterwards. So I would say talk to your doc about that, ask them. I do think that that is a common experience with people because meditation causes us to go in, and if there's something going haywire with the hallucinations, delusions, etc., 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 paranoid ideation, etc., then going in may or may not be such a great thing. So do talk to your doc about that. That would be really good. Yes, it can be a typical reaction with schizophrenia. Absolutely. So talk to your doc about that. How do you regain trust in a doctor if you've been misdiagnosed twice by them? You fire their ass. Like hardcore, fire their ass and go get to a doctor that's not going to misdiagnose you. I'm telling you, with medical stuff, I would only put up with one misdiagnosis and then I'd be like, peace out, bitches, you know, because your life is not worth sitting there giving person chance after chance after chance after chance. If they've misdiagnosed you twice, get the fuck away from them. Seriously, fire their ass. That's my answer to that. All right. All right. Question. My ex of 7 months contacted my friend on social media saying he is heartbroken and there's two sides to every story. My friend agreed with him and now I'm wondering, is my ex that bad? Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Okay, here's the deal. You broke up with them for a reason. I don't care if they're heartbroken. So here's the deal. Did they abuse you? Did they verbally abuse you? Did they physically abuse you? Did they mentally abuse you? Did they call you names? Did they lead you on a roller coaster going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down? I love you, love you, love you, hate you, hate you, hate you, love you, love you, love you, hate you, hate you, hate you. So this is what's known as Hoover by proxy, also otherwise known as abuse by proxy. So what the abuser will do is once they realize they cannot get a hold of you directly, they will go to flying monkeys. And they will contact them and say, oh, I'm heartbroken. My heart is, I can't get a hold of him or her. You need to contact them. Triangulation of communication. They could have written you letters. As far as I know, you can't really block the mail. Yeah, of course, then with everything going on, it would take 4 months for it to get there. But anyway, the point being is that, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that they had to go to a third party to get a hold of you? And the friend, is this really a friend? Is this really a friend? Would a good friend say that this person is a good person if they've been abusing you and you broke up with them for a reason? Let's take a look at that. So here's the deal. Good friends do not act as a speaker for the abuser. They do not. You know, what a good friend would have done would have said, sorry your heart's broken. You know what? This is between the two of you. Period. Oh, but I can't get a hold of them and da-da-da-da-da. Well, then, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not relaying the message. That's what a good friend would do. Let me just say that again. Good friends are not flying fucking monkeys. Okay? They're not. They don't relay messages. They cut it off cold and they go, you know what? You need to take this up with the person that you need to be talking to, not me. Period. And they cut it cold. So there is that. Is it possible to get 2-hour sessions? I feel like an hour isn't a whole lot of time. Okay. I know some people are like, oh my God, 45 minutes, that's not a lot of time, blah, blah, blah. All right, it is and it isn't. So in 45 minutes, I give a pretty jam-packed session. So it's like, I'll let the person talk and then I will give interventions, and I'll let the person talk and I'll give interventions, and I'll let the person talk and I'll give interventions. 2-hour sessions are possible. However, it's really hard for the clinician to sit there for 2 hours doing that, talking intervention, talking intervention, talking intervention. That's why we break it up, because it's like, we'll have a 45-minute session, I have a 15-minute break, that gives me time to go do my notes, that gives me time to contact other clients that are calling, I run to the bathroom, I grab some water, I come back and I do it all over again. So 2-hour sessions are very intense, and a lot of people feel like they're not going to be heard in a 45-minute session, but the truth of the matter is, you will. So, and especially if you have a good clinician that's not just letting you sit there and go back over the past, you know, ruminate. It's like, okay, let's move forward. Let's get this, here's some tools. Let's do this. Let's get this fixed, you know, kind of thing. So 2-hour sessions are possible. Not a lot of clinicians do them. I don't, and I won't, because I need to pee between sessions. So, you know, and it's kind of hard to be like, oh, okay, pee break, and, you know, and your files are all there and stuff like that. You don't want to do that. So, yeah, some clinicians offer 2-hour sessions. I don't. A lot of people don't. And the reason is because we need a break mentally, mentally, physically, have to pee, you know, and things like that. So I hope that answered that question. Okay. Some friends are starting a book club to read The Body Keeps Score. Any suggestions to handle when people get triggered and have emotional flashbacks? First of all, I always suggest therapy. I always suggest having a good therapist. I do, a good trauma therapist. You want to be able to journal it out, journal it out. What is the flashback about? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What's happening? You want to be very cognizant and aware, take breaks, you know, so if you're doing a book club and you're reading it together kind of thing, and somebody becomes triggered, you also don't want that to turn into a group therapy session, because that's not what this is about. Do you see where I'm going with that? So some ground rules need to be laid. It's like, well, how are you going to handle flashbacks? How are you going to handle, is there going to be one person that can go privately calm that person down, or talk to them, or give them some encouragement, or hand them the number of a good therapist? You know, how are you going to do that? So there needs to be ground rules, because oftentimes what I see happen is that a book club starts and they have the best of intentions, but then there's a few people in there that decide to use it as personal therapy, or decide to use it as their venue, you know, to process, and that's great up to a certain extent, but if it's the same person over and over and over again, and it's constant drama, and you're having a hard time getting through the book reading session, then there's something else going on. So you want to have some ground rules. You want to figure out who's going to be the moderator, who's going to be in charge of, you know, maybe directing or redirecting somebody. And people need to be personally responsible. This is a heavy-duty book, you know, Body Keeps Score. You're talking about trauma. You're talking about where it goes in your body and all of this sort of stuff. So people need to be personally responsible. If they get triggered, they need to be responsible and go, okay, it's too much. I'll see you guys next week. I got to process this stuff. Great. Go process. Take care of yourself. So yeah, there needs to be some ground rules, and you need to figure out how to handle. So that would be it. Okay. When a therapist wants us to go back to our abusers, is that mental torture? No, that's bad fucking therapy is what that is. If they want you to go back to your abusers, fire them. Honest to God, guys, if somebody's like, oh, you know, that wasn't that bad. First of all, they're minimizing what you went through. Second of all, they're encouraging you to go back into a very dangerous situation. What the fuck? Third of all, that's not what therapists do. Therapists encourage you to figure out who you are, what you want, what's going on, what's in your best interest. You make the decisions. You know, we can definitely chime in if we think you're heading for a cliff, for sure. But, you know, fire their ass, find a good therapist, good trauma therapist. All right. Is it possible for someone who is not yet diagnosed to accidentally develop at least partially effective ways of coping before going to therapy, doing DBT, or reading the literature? Well, yeah, because we all come up with adaptive and maladaptive ways to cope with stuff until we actually know what the heck's going on and what we're dealing with and why we're doing it. So yeah, some people accidentally come up with ways to cope that are actually pretty healthy. You know, one, journaling. You know, the number of clients that I have that didn't realize the value of journaling were, you know, sit down on the couch and they're like, Well, yeah, the only thing that saved me when I was a teenager is that I journaled. I got it out of my head and I, wrote it all out and I kept it safe so that my mom and dad couldn't find it. And, so yeah, there's ways of adapting positive stuff, but it's very unlikely if the behavior is mostly maladaptive. So you definitely want to get into DBT. You definitely want to get into a good therapist. You want to start reading literature, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to keep the good stuff going. Yeah, we all adapt and we all grab onto whatever works. So one of the healthier ones is journaling. A lot of survivors of abuse journaled and they didn't even know that that was a great thing to do. It's a great thing to do. So there that is. Okay, that takes care of those questions. Hang on, I got more over here. Okay. I know there was one that I wanted to do. Sorry, I got to read through. I've gotten so many people asking me questions. This is great though. Okay, can you talk about borderline personality disorder and stalking behavior, please? If they devalue and discard, why do they stalk? Because my coffee is now done. Thank you. Sorry, beep. I bought a new vehicle and last week I busted him stalking me. The next day my car was keyed and I've been no contact for 3 months. Okay, so here's what you need to understand. BPD can be comorbid with psychopathy. It can be comorbid with antisocial. It can be comorbid with narcissism. So it has traits of all the major personality disorders, but it can also be comorbid with all the personality disorders. They could have multiple things going on. Generally, stalkers are antisocial. Let's talk about that for a second. Antisocial means not that they don't like being around people, which is what everybody says, oh, I'm antisocial. No, you're not! So antisocial is the term for psychopath. They do not follow the accepted social norms. So rules don't apply to them, which is why you often find narcissists are comorbid with antisocial because rules don't apply to them. So those are your stalkers. Those are the antisocial ones, the psychopaths. Those are your stalkers because the rules don't apply to them. And they are bent on revenge. So that's a key feature of malignant borderline is being bent on revenge. And they stalk because they didn't get their way. They're angry. They've got a narcissistic injury that really has very little to do with you leaving them and everything to do with whatever the fuck the family of origin was with them. So anyway, they are antisocial, they're psychopaths, and they stalk for revenge, which is borderline, and the ego, narcissism, is the one that's driving it. And they are dangerous and like nobody's business. So a dark triad is psychopathy mixed with either narcissism or borderline or both, and Machiavellianism, control freak, okay? That's a dark triad. That is bad. So if you've got somebody stalking you and keying your car, I would strongly suggest you file a police report. I would also strongly suggest that you file an order of protection. I would also strongly suggest that you go take self-defense courses. I would also strongly suggest that you learn how to use your own weapon, whether that is concealed carry, or which is what I do, or pepper spray, which is also what I do. It's like, make sure you are safe. And I would put cameras up on the outside of your house. I would, because that'll stop that shit real quick, because then you've got them on tape. Well, tape, listen to me. Old, digital. You've got them on digital. So, okay, so there that is. So yeah, it is a function of antisocial, more than borderline. It's a function of antisocial. That the rules don't apply to them. They're not going to get caught. They have no consequences. They're right. Everybody's wrong. Yeah, so that's why they do that. So I hope that answered that question. Let me see if I can find the next. Okay. Hold on, sorry. Okay. Okay. Okay, can you clarify why they get joy out of negative reactions? Because they're narcissists. They are, okay, let me see if I can condense this down. Okay, I was wondering if you've done a video on the joy they get from evoking a negative reaction out of their victims. Okay, so narcissists would rather have a negative reaction than no reaction at all. Okay, love me or hate me, just don't ignore me. That's what they say. That is their mantra. Love me or hate me, just don't ignore me. Because when we ignore a narcissist, like a true malignant narcissist, when we just ignore them, like when we, do what we need to do, get the orders of protection, do whatever we need to do to protect ourselves, and then we do not give them narcissistic supply, in their minds, they cease to exist, and it pisses them off because you're not thinking about them 24/7. So the narcissist's goal is to get a reaction, any reaction. They don't care. Your tears are delicious to them. Your anger is delicious to them. It is their narcissistic supply. It's their fucking cocaine. Okay, man? That's what I'm saying. That is their drug. And they love the negative reaction. And what I've heard someone say was, well, but doesn't that mean they have empathy? No, because if they had empathy, they would not enjoy it. People who have empathy do not enjoy seeing others suffer. It gives them no joy. It doesn't. It causes suffering. It causes pain. It causes hurt. It causes sadness. It's like I'm reading the news. I should stop reading the news, Jesus Christ. But I'm reading the news today, and I'm listening to, my home county in California basically burning down to the ground. My niece is a ER doctor. She's treating burn victims, and I'm bursting into tears going, these are people I know. These are people I went to school with. These are people that, sorry. That's empathy, because you can go, holy shit, this is terrible. This is awful. They are suffering, and this is terrible, and I do not like this at all. So that's empathy. When a narcissist is sadistic, right, and they're watching somebody suffer and they're going, I really enjoy that. That's not empathy. That's fucking sadism is what that shit is. That's fucking psychopath. That is antisocial behavior. That is, I'm inflicting pain and I'm enjoying it. That is not empathy. Empathy is, oh my God, I feel what that would feel like and how horrible for that person to be suffering. That's empathy. Idiot compassion, however, is where we go, ooh, gosh, I feel how they're feeling if we're dealing with a narcissist. Gosh, how horrible for them to have no empathy. And gosh, I'm going to stay in their lives and let them continue to abuse me to try to show them empathy. No, that's idiot compassion. So that's Pima Children, idiot compassion versus compassion. Compassion is, ow, how must that feel? And I'm not going to allow you to harm me. Idiot compassion is, ow, how must that feel? And I'm going to try to fix you by having you stay in my life and continue to abuse me. That's idiot compassion. So, pray for Orville. It's burning down. Not good. Okay. All right. Okay. I think that answered that question. Let me get rid of that one. Ooh, how many minutes do I have? 2 minutes. Okay. 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 That one I want to do an actual show on. What is this one? A word salad I want to do a show on. Hang on, because that's a big one. Financial abuse I want to do a show on. Hang on. I know, I'm sorry. There's so many things. Let's see. What is this one? Hang on. Oh, replacing your parents. Okay, I also want to do a show on that one. So I think I just answered all of the questions. So the other ones that I've gotten were all show ideas. So, and I want to do shows on those because those are big issues. So, basically, you are a good person when you have empathy, when you can put yourself into somebody else's shoes and feel how that feels and then offer help, like California burning down, it's like donating to the Red Cross or whatever. That's empathy. When a narcissist is enjoying hurting somebody and suffering, they're not feeling what the victim's feeling. They're enjoying the hurt that they're inflicting. Love me or hate me, just don't ignore me. That kind of thing. That's not empathy. That is absolutely not empathy. That is the antithesis of empathy. They're enjoying the pain. They're sadists. So anyway, that's it. So this week on We Need to Talk, I'm going to be discussing detachment. So you're in a narcissistic relationship, that relationship ends. Or you've got kids from this relationship, the narcissist has successfully alienated them from you. Now what? So detachment, learning to detach. That doesn't mean just, I don't care. It means detaching. And we're going to talk about that. It's going to be changing your roles, changing what you thought your role was to the new role. So we're going to talk about that. So that's going to be detachment this week. On tomorrow, jeez Louise, it's already Wednesday. Okay. Tomorrow at 6 a.m., Dwayne and I are going to be doing a show on, what the hell are we doing it on? Holy crap, my brain just totally went out the door. We're going to be doing a show on, again, kind of, you know, what to expect with children and things like that. So your role as an adult child, maybe possibly getting back into a relationship with the parent that had been alienated. So what the pitfalls may be of that's going to be the show tomorrow with Dwayne on Dwayne's channel, which is Dad's Surviving Divorce. So he's on YouTube, Dad's Surviving Divorce with Dwayne Robert. He's awesome. So that will be live tomorrow at 6 a.m. on his channel. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be doing detachment. So a little bit expanding further on that. So anyway, that's it. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.